Yo, YouTube, new Destiny 2 live stream, new trailer. What the hell? Chicago? Whoa. Is this actually old Chicago? 1950s or something?
Kepler. You've never been there. And you know every inch of it.
Ooh.
It's the farthest either of us have been from home. In distance or in time.
Okay.
You're gonna get a call. An invitation only you can answer. And you'll say yes.
Alright. They love showing off this ball.
They arranged it so you would never say no. Choice is real. And every choice you make will lead you here. To who you're supposed to be.
Okay.
Eyes up,
Whoa.
weapon.
Oh, the raid! Whoa, that looked kind of crazy. That raid opening looked insane. What? What the hell? What the hell on? The hell Barton?
Awesome. Hello. Welcome to
DMG.
Bungie. Welcome back for our second live stream for The Edge of Fate. What you just saw was our launch trailer. We are 14 days away from launch. Yeah, 2 weeks. Pretty insane. Today we're going to be talking about what activities are on Kepler. What can you expect from world tiers as you're going through for replayability? And to introduce that, we actually have a wonderful human being on the couch next to me. Did I introduce myself? My name's Dylan. Hi. Your name is Robbie. Hello. Let's actually get a real introduction for you.
He's
How
nervous,
you doing?
man.
Hey,
It's
Dylan,
all right.
it's great to be here. I'm the assistant game director for Destiny 2, and I focus on working with the broad
Robbie
Destiny 2 team
Stevens.
and creating this game for our players and charting a new course to some new frontiers here with The Edge of Fate, just 14 days away. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
right?
It's awesome. Yeah.
I keep telling folks on the team, it's like, we got 14 days, and they're like, wait, huh? It's already here? So today
Yeah, that
we're going
is
to be looking at
crazy.
Kepler. Can you give us a quick overview? What are we going to be looking at?
Yeah, so we're going to be looking at some of the free roam experience on Kepler, and we're also going to be taking a sneak peek at the end of one of our campaign missions that is replayable in the post game after you complete the campaign of
Are
the Kepler
all
experience.
the missions
We're also going to be
replayable?
talking here about our world tiers a little bit, which we've talked a little bit about in the stream, and we're going to talk about a lot more here today. And so what we're showing on screen right
about
now
the
is
strike?
the world tier difficulty selector that's on the destination. And so right now we're in the Fabled difficulty, and so Brave and Legendary, you can play through the campaign, you can play through the main quest, the story of the release, and Brave or Legendary, doesn't matter. But after you do that, you're going to unlock Fabled and Mythic difficulties. Now, the difference here, though, is with these difficulties, power is fully enabled. And so that means when you step out of either Brave or Legendary, you're going to
Mythic,
probably be able to do
heavily
Fabled. Most
shielded
people will be
and
able to do
highly
Fabled.
aggressive
Some people might need a
combatants
fire
appear in
team.
great
But if you want to
numbers.
play Mythic, you're really going to have to climb power, and the difficulty really escalates, and then the gear gets better. And so if you're hunting for that, that tier 2+, 3, 4 loot,
Player power is capped below
you're
30?
needing to play and Fabled
At
Mythic to
30
find
below
that
combatants.
higher tier loot. Yeah.
I thought
let's,
that said
let's get
below
some combat
30.
going. Really
That
quick, what
was
is the state of our fire
triple
team? You were
it.
mentioning we're in Fabled, so this is going to be after they've already done their first playthrough.
Yeah, so this fire team has played the Legendary campaign. Right now, they are inside of the Gorge, which is one of our 4 major regions of Kepler, and they are in free roam right now, and they are going through
Looks
one
like
of our
something
free roam,
off of Ness's.
encounters. And so the other thing I should call out
Interesting,
here
huh?
is within these free roam encounters, there are reasons to basically go back through the destination using your new abilities in new ways. And so,
All right.
Sorry, can you ask me that question one more time? Like, I feel like I answered it, but then I segued
brother.
into something else.
I said, what state is our fire team in?
Oh,
Post-campaign.
Yeah.
They're
We're
using the new
post-campaign,
Warlock
we're-
gauntlets.
Yeah, sorry, thank you. Yeah, we're hunting higher tier loot and gear here on the destination, and they're also doing some of our post-game quests. So both Fabled and Mythic have their very own quest associated with them as part of the
Yo,
post-game.
that rocket
that are
burst is
one
gonna
part of, like,
be
completing the
insane.
Triumphant Seal to earn some exclusive cosmetics and emblems, but also these world quests unlock some additional loot in the game as well. So specifically the Mythic quest that's associated with that world tier unlocks a variant
So you do
armor
summon
set
it
for the
like a
Kepler armor. So
sparrow.
as you're playing through the campaign and throughout the experience,
Those balls
there's
keep you
a 2 and
inside
4
it.
set piece bonus on the Kepler armor set. Once you complete that
Holy
Mythic
damn.
world tier quest, you unlock a variant of that has a different set bonus and a unique shader on it as well.
Awesome. Yeah, and for folks that you didn't tune in last week or you haven't heard about gear tiers, set bonuses, we have a full blog article that went live last week. Go ahead, visit that, check it out.
That was a
so when
cool
we're looking
looking
at
ghost.
this activity, this is going to be a free roam mission, right?
Yes.
And these take place in places that are regions on the destination. Can
Yes.
you walk us through that?
Yeah, so I talked about it a little bit before, but this is the gorge, and so the Vex have actually put a big
Do you take
security
damage while
lockdown
inside
on this entire
Matter
region
Spark?
inside of Kepler. And so they're the fire team right now is like basically like breaking through
I think that's
this
what the
security
ball's
lockdown.
called,
And so
unless that's what
each of
all
these
of them are called.
regions feature multiple of these major encounters is kind of what we call them, these free roam encounters. And these are kind of like the scale.
wow.
Ooh, we just got try to get through that security grid and he did not.
Oh,
make it.
trials armor. Look at that.
Each of these major encounters we have are kind of like the size of like roughly like a lost sector, but ultimately they're more complex. They have more mechanics that you have to use the destination abilities to solve some simple puzzles and
upgraded
encounters
lost
inside of them.
sectors. Okay.
And generally they have like pretty thick combat, especially on like the Fabled difficulty.
It seems like
as well, where we start adding
they're
more enemies, tougher
challenging
enemies, and
lost
also,
sectors,
there are Banes
but
that
not
are
called
applied,
lost sectors
in the
for
world tiers
the-
too that are actually exclusive to
as
Kepler. They were built
certain
specifically
reason.
for this content.
That's awesome. Yeah, and then as you're going through these sorts of free roam activities and exploring Kepler, what other like side objectives or objectives can pop up?
Yeah, so the way we kind of are thinking about this, right, like you're a lot of this outside of doing the seal, the triumphs, and things like that, and mysteries and secrets, which we can talk about here in a minute, a little bit more, is like it's about gear pursuit, right? It's about like earning that higher tier gear, chasing power.
Yep.
And so the way we constructed these regions, there's these free roam major encounters, there's tougher enemies that appear, there's HVTs that pop
Precision
up, there's
instrument,
destination materials to loot, and
this
there's this
LFR, is
material
that a
called
new
a
one?
faded cipher as well. And so you're going to be combining destination
cipher.
materials that you get from basically doing almost anything inside of the region alongside faded ciphers in order to be able to purchase specific items at the destination vendor called the Altar of Relativity.
You do take
the center.
damage in
That's a
Matter
lot
Spark.
of names and words.
Lots of
and
proper
yeah,
nouns.
If
Yeah.
you didn't catch this, I know there are going to be breakdowns. We'll have a recap in the TWID, but yeah, continue.
Yeah, and so like what's cool about this is that in the post game, like there's a focus that we created, and so basically through the vendor you can go and look at it and be like, okay, today's focus is the gorge, which the fire team is looking at today. Most of the materials that you're earning here can be used to purchase gear, or you can convert your other materials you might have from other regions in order to convert it into the gorge materials to buy stuff.
Aegis?
But
Okay.
every day it's going to
that
shift.
one.
That daily focus is going to shift, and
Aegis
so
Relic.
a little bit later in the stream we're going to be seeing a part of Exile's Accord, which we've also some of our content creators and influencers showed as well,
the Strand?
and some of their content parts of it. But basically, of the 4 major regions, the daily focus will shift day over day to basically kind of change what you're focused on, what gets you access to
So
that
it's like
direct
Neomuna.
purchase loot.
Yeah, and since we're on the
And
topic of rewards, you were talking
Heart.
about like the currencies and the vendor.
Yeah.
You had mentioned before the stream actually there's a new form of attunement for the destination as well.
Yeah, so something that was really important to us was like,
Oh, your
like
special has no
we
ammo.
want to make playing
LOL.
what we call like the action game, like actually experience in free roam. Like
I just
this and
realized
mission
that
content,
strand thing's
like
a
when
melee,
you earn that piece of loot
not a
on
grenade.
Kepler
I thought it
as
was
you're
a
completing
grenade.
these activities and
yeah.
just got nuked.
No, I'm so happy that
yeah.
they're dying because they were like, this won't be too hard. And it's like, oh, world tiers? Let's introduce them at a higher difficulty. difficulty, shall we?
Yeah.
But sorry, go ahead.
No, exactly. Yes, this is
Gemini.
Fabled pushing back a little bit. They're having to think about what they do, and they just used actually Mattermorph in order to open up a pathway to get around this Vex grid that opened up in the middle of the encounter. But anyway, we were talking specifically, I'm sorry, remind me.
Attunement.
Attunement, thank you. Yeah, so basically, you're going to be able to attune at the vendor a specific
this the
piece of gear,
exotic?
armor, or weapon, and any drop on Kepler that drops
No,
a piece
wait.
of armor or weapon will have a chance to
The
be
exotic?
that gear. We just wanted to make sure that
Yeah,
as
works,
you're
right?
playing through the destination,
Third
as like you're carving your own
iteration or
path, you're
whatever it's
figuring out your
called.
own farm routes inside of each of these 4 regions each day.
Also,
of the
get
week.
off of this warlock,
We want to
man.
make sure that, like, hey,
Jeez, I'm
if you're looking
tired
for the
of seeing
giver,
you
that
play.
auto rifle that's coming with the Edge of Fate here on Kepler, it's like you have a chance to get it anytime a piece of loot drops. Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
you had mentioned just a minute ago about secrets and the depth of the destination. I mean, I'd love to hear, go ahead and expand on that.
Yeah, so like it's funny with like secrets and mysteries, like you want to like talk about it a little bit, but like not too much
No
to like
spoilers,
like
right?
like spoil it.
Yeah.
But I think like the thing to scratch at here and poke at here is right is like we've talked about the destination abilities a few times, and so with the world tiers and the fabled and mythic difficulties throughout the destination, there are secrets
like
and
the-
mysteries, like basically all these little alcoves, these little locations.
I like
these-
how
these
none
side
of their
paths,
builds
these
have
hidden
any
rooms,
synergy
all throughout
whatsoever.
the destination
It's amazing.
that you can go and discover. And there's a lot available just within the campaign experience. Like if you want to play through the campaign and take it like really slow and as you earn abilities and look around, you're going to find a lot of mysteries to solve. But we also wanted to make sure that in those higher world tiers in Fabled and Mythic, that it felt like this expanding expansion of that content that you have. And it's basically like,
Expansion,
hey, you
good
have
word.
even more abilities than ever. You can now peel back the onion of this world to discover what's at the core of it. And so we really wanted to make sure that it felt like there was just more and more to
there's
dive
those
into the more
faded
you unlocked
ciphers.
inside of the post game.
Oh, it's like
Awesome.
9.
Yeah.
So in our rehearsals, we never managed to get this perfect
Interesting.
timing, but we have perfect timing.
Aw.
I would love to shift to campaign. We're going to be taking you about midway through campaign mission here. A quick note for the audience. If you're avoiding spoilers, we have disabled our VO. We have disabled our subtitles. We're trying to keep this so you are discovering the story as it comes out with Edge of
Okay.
Fate and our new saga.
Nice.
So as they're getting loaded into that, I'd love to ask you just a couple more questions about free roam in the regions.
Yes.
What other things can happen in regions outside of campaign?
Yeah, so one of the big things that happens inside of these regions are side quests, which we've only talked a little bit about. And
Okay.
these are basically ways that flesh out more of the characters of the world, more of the stories of the people and of the place and what's happening on Kepler and what's been happening with them before and what might be happening to them in the future. And basically what happens is as you're completing these regions as part of the campaign and you kind of start to unlock more of them, these side quests will start to become available. And so these side quests are available to you at any time. So again, like I was kind of mentioning earlier, like you can either take it really, really slow and take a really long time to get through everything the release has to offer, or you can just like beeline the main quest, beeline the critical path, and then when you get into the higher level world tiers, all of these side quests are now available to you. As we've been like play testing and closing out the Edge of Fate here, it's been really interesting to watch different developers and people play test for the content. Myself and Blake Battle, one of our executive producers, he and I we're just like beelining it, right?
Yeah.
And then we get to the end and we like pop open that and we're like, look at all these quests to do, while other people like want to take their time and like experience like the full story of every single little piece.
So we're actually we're getting into the campaign right now. And speaking of beelining, we've seen a ton of questions about getting raid race ready. So the raid race is going to be coming out on the Saturday after launch. I believe it's the 19th of July.
Yeah.
What difficulty should players play at to get
3
ready
days
for race?
after
Yeah,
launch
so if you want to be
again?
power ready
Or
for
4 days?
the contest mode race
Holy
for the Edge of Fate, you're going to want to play the Legendary campaign. And so when you step out of the Legendary campaign, you will be power ready at that point. Now, if you're gear ready, that's up to you, right? It's like how far you want to go down that rabbit hole.
And that dovetails into like replayability for the story missions and the campaign missions and how that bakes into world tiers.
Yes,
right?
Getting that higher tier loot.
Yeah.
So something that was like really important to us when we were thinking about replayability and what like aspiration means within an expansion, we really wanted to change some of the formula. Like we wanted to take some of the formula that we think works well, but also change other pieces of it. And one of the really big goals for us was just giving you more reasons
Holy
and just
FOV.
easier ways to play just some of the best content we built. This campaign mission is at the end of the Exiles Accord region. This fire team is taking down a giant Exiles prime servitor who's running some of the Archon's dark matter operations. Sorry, all minor spoilers.
No, it's cool. Life is probably jotting this down, getting ready for a lore dump about the Fallen, all that kind of stuff.
But this is this is a really fun multi-phase boss encounter that they're orbiting around this giant servitor, and we really wanted to set something up that this doesn't just was like a one and done kind of thing. And so things we've kind of done before that we're going back to that we think work well, there's going to be multiple weekly missions that you can play that are larger missions. So we have a capstone mission for each of our regions. We also have some bookends at the beginning and end of the release that the overall length of them and complexity, they are very similar to legendary campaign experiences from the past. So something new that we did though for this release though is we also have a bunch of additional story missions that take place during the campaign and you're first introduced to. These are shorter experiences, but they still have huge impact on the story, moving the story of the main quest into Kepler 4, and also help you to unlock different abilities and things throughout it. And so in the post-game, in the higher level, in the world tiers, we actually have a story mission playlist where you can go in and it's like a rotator, and you're rotating through a bunch of different randomly selected story missions that are about 10 to 15 minutes. Some people can, if you're going really fast, can get them down a little bit shorter. And those missions are actually one of the best sources of those faded ciphers that I was talking about.
No strand weapon for strand build. Again,
the other
crazy.
thing I mentioned earlier too is we have specific quests for both Fabled and Mythic, and these quests are going to take you through some of the big campaign missions, again, to experience them with new modifiers, because we're curating modifiers and banes and things like that every single week on the destination to have a little bit more of a curated experience, but then also those quests introduce some new encounters as well. And so, sorry, I'm going a little bit all over the place. I mean, some of this, there's just so much information, so much to talk about. But the thing, again, I want to drive home here is we wanted to give you really strong incentives to go in and play the free roam experience, to extract materials, to play our story mission playlist. It's called the time lapse mission playlist, to earn faded ciphers, but then also to have reasons to go in and replay some of our biggest campaign missions again through the weekly missions playlist, kind of like the heroic stuff we've had in the past.
And on the stream last week, we talked about how as you're unlocking the destination abilities, you carry those forward after the post game, so you can go in and replay and then have some of these things available, right?
Yeah, that's a really good note, and thank you for hitting on that. The way we designed this content
18
was
damage
the campaign
is
slowly
crazy, bro.
stepped you into these different abilities and unlocking
Terrible.
different versions of them and higher tier versions of them. When you're in the post-game experience, we intentionally designed puzzles and encounter mechanics and things, and even in this boss encounter, there's multiple times that they've had to use Matter Spark to get into the vents and stuff below this area and pop up through the world. And through the campaign,
which is
you would actually have to go and find a Matter Spark pad to activate that, and that's actually kind of part of the puzzle. It's teaching you to kind of look at the world and think about the world in a different way that is intentional. But then in the post game, as soon as you complete the campaign, you unlock Matter Spark anywhere, and it's basically like your souped up sparrow for the destination. And being able to summon Matter Spark anywhere means you can actually sequence break some of our puzzles and sequence break part of our missions, and that was entirely intentional as a part of the design. And to be honest, Dylan, the fun part about this too is we're not 100% sure in some ways where people might sequence breaks things that we might not expect, but that is just that was
okay.
All
right.
Yeah,
all right.
It's the magic
Can we
of the
see
sandbox
something
and Destiny
else?
of we don't know how players are going to take this ability with this destination ability with this combatant, et cetera, et cetera. So I think I would love to ask you as well. So we've gotten a lot of questions from players where they're like, "Oh, you had mentioned this is comparable to a Rise of Iron." How does that actually break down when we look at the Edge of Fate and Kepler? You had mentioned depth and secrets and a bunch of different things. So.
Yeah. So I think you and I were talking about this in rehearsal a little bit, where that comparison is just to give us a ballpark of where we want to make. But at the end of the day, it's apples and oranges between what the Edge of Fate is and what Rise of Iron is. So when we've talked about that, we've generally been speaking towards the size of this destination and the depth of the campaign and post-game experience. This is one of the deepest destinations we've ever built before, and that is why we've been making that comparison to Rise of Iron in that way. But also in terms of being a little bit bigger. But also the game is very different today, right? We have an entire.
All right, so it makes it seem like we're not getting
new gear,
a lot
to
of
do.
content.
We have the raid with the Edge of Fate, obviously, but then we have the epic raid coming in the major update with Ash and Iron, which we'll talk about more in the future. That just it permutes and expands the raid and expands on the story of the raid. It is new content.
Yeah.
We're not holding anything back for the base raid to build that experience. And so again, the
hope
Rise
they
of Iron
change
to Edge of Fate,
the raid
a little
up
bit
a
apples
bunch
and
during the
oranges,
epic
but we
raid.
also are thinking about like the collective packages of what comes with.
Also, is that
with
where
this
the
release
Adept
because
raid weapons
the
are
game is
coming
very
in?
different
Like,
from what
let's
it was
go
like
be the
back
loot
So
chase in
we
that.
have the free roam missions, we have campaign, we have secrets, we have a lot of questing, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'd love before we wrap up with our campaign mission to talk a bit about what else players can expect in terms of destination activity.
Yeah, so we've seen y'all talking about it. Like we hear y'all, and this is one of those things where like we wanted to hold this back for it to be like a surprise and delight moment for everyone when it appeared on the destination in the post game. But yeah, let's just talk about it a little bit. So there is a destination activity on Kepler. It is I'm not going to name it here. I just want y'all to see it when the game goes live. And it also, and part of that is because like it does relate to some of the story inside of the campaign, especially near the end.
All right, so he's not. I can understand why they don't want to talk about it. This is supposed to be a mystery.
It's kind of its own thing. It's kind of unique.
Mystery like expansion, bringing mystery back in Destiny, but when you guys don't have a lot of good faith behind you, I'm not even listening to what he's saying, just so I am, like more surprised when I see it. But I get this campaign's supposed to be, all mysterious and whatnot, which is great. I love mystery, but when you're changing up everything basically, like we're having 2 expansions a year that are smaller, like we gotta know more information. If holy cow, Renegades, I almost said Renegades, like what? If Renegades was first, and then it was Edge of Fate, they could be all mysterious with Edge of Fate, but we need like a solid foundation.
For your time, we've already wrapped up our campaign mission, and now we're actually going to be moving over to Portal, Power Progression. So Robbie, thank you. Chat, thank Robbie for joining us today.
So no strike.
And now we're going to swap some folks in. We'll see you next time.
See you later, guys. Thanks so much.
All right. So as we are swapping out, I want to talk about these 2 new exotic weapons that we see on the screen. You saw some of this in our gameplay preview that we just had. We also had some creators, influencers, that kind of stuff coming in and speaking to the hand cannon and the...
Oh my gosh, Mr. Ruffle Waffles, what do the symbols mean, mate?
No spoilers there. But the team was talking about, hey, here is our overall goal for the weapon. It's for those who are looking for the perfect 3-tap. As for the Void Scout Rifle, that's going to be a part of our new rewards pass. This is just, I'm not going to spoil that either. There are some reviews from our sandbox-minded creators. It's a fun time. So, all right, let's move on to Portal, Power, and Progression. And I just looked at our 3 new guests in that order. Hello, welcome.
Hello. Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
are they all
new, but we'll start with you, Ben.
2 of
How
them
you
are
doing?
ginger.
I'm doing great, Dylan.
Oh no, that's interesting.
I'm doing well.
No,
For
wait,
those who
they're...
didn't see you on our reveal stream or previous docs, can you give a quick
all of them
overview
do.
who
Oh
you
my
are?
gosh.
Yeah, I am Ben Womack. I am
Also,
the core game
mustard
director.
socks
I am
on DMG.
the one helping all the teams that are making the core
That's interesting. I
experience.
feel like I
all
have
the
not seen more
components
than
in the
one
Portal
ginger person
and Edge of Fate as
in a
well.
place at once.
Worked well together and pushed the game forward into this great new foundation. Really excited to talk about it.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah.
Next on the couch, brand new to our chair. You've never been on anything, so first time you are meeting the community. Everyone in chat, say hello. Nutty, welcome.
Hi, I'm Nutty. I'm one of our sandbox ability designers. That pretty much means that I work with Vivian and Eric, who were here last week, to develop anything that the player is doing outside of armor, weapons, and combatants. So today I'm going to talk about all the modifiers and additional banes that we've been working on.
Awesome. Last but not least, we got Alan Blaine. How you doing?
Hey, great. How you doing, Dylan?
Oh, you asked me how I am? Thank you so much. really quick introduction for everybody out there watching. Who are you? What do you do?
Sure. Hi, I'm Alan. I'm a principal designer, and for the last year, I've been leading the team that's been taking all the cool Banes and modifiers Nutty's team is working on and combining them in a UI with all the activities from the activities team, both new and returning activities, making sure that you get good score while you're playing those activities, and then that score turns into loot with cool seasonal power and gear tiers and all the great stuff that you're looking for.
Stellar. We have some content on screen. This is what players are going to see when they sign in on day one, and this is our introduction to the portal. Ben, I would love to get just a quick overview for those who may have missed that reveal stream. Like, what is this space? What are we aiming for?
Yeah, so the portal is very exciting. We had this vision of making a new front page for the game for Destiny 2. And so we really want to make it as much as we could available, like just a couple clicks, and not having to dig down to find the content that is new or featured, or like you're being your friends are playing, or something like convenient that you really want to like go to. Like we have a button for the tower.
Dude, like they could have easily added this to the destination stuff. I don't get
in the
it.
upper corner, of course, which is like the new expansion for the launch right here. We have this huge like quick launch panel in the lower right that is rotating between new activities, like probably the fastest you can play Destiny ever, aside from right when you like start for a very first like new character. It's gonna let you just like hit and play something right away with like no delay. And then we have actually a very like nested depth there with all the ops categories on the left, which are all the different kinds of things you can play in the portal that are hooking to all the new systems that Alan and Nutty have been talking about.
Awesome. Yeah, really quick, I'd love to go just line by line for Solo, Fireteam, Pinnacle, and Crucible Ops. Give them an introduction.
Yeah. So Solo Ops is like a new thing that we're doing in the Edge of Fate launch and for the core game. These have activities that are designed to be played by solo players. They're only one-person fire teams, and they're intended to be content that if you just like have a few minutes, like 10, 15 minutes to play Destiny, and you want to go on and like feel satisfied about your time, get some great loot, you're gonna go to Solo Ops and like have that opportunity. It's gonna be like a really great, concise like experience.
Yeah,
we also like if you
I don't know
want
I
to
hope
have like
there's great loot in it.
think about having a fire team for some content as well, you can be assured that this stuff is designed to be played by one player. And so it's like, it's going to have challenges, going to have difficulty and modifiers and such you can customize and really great loot to get. But, it's a challenge for you, individual. And we think that's really exciting.
Solo Ops is
to some stuff in the past. It felt like I want to
Bloody
play
Lost Sectors?
Or I'm trying to find someone who has time, and we have another like niche for people to fill if they're in the mood.
Yeah, awesome.
These
And
are
then
just
next up,
Lost
we have,
Sectors.
Fireteam Ops.
Yes, Fireteam Ops.
Or like
so,
patrol
like,
spaces.
just talking about
Like
fire
what?
teams, like quintessential Destiny is playing with two other players, a fire team of 3, right?
Everything's
So
fire.
we have all of the activities in Fireteam Ops are 3-player fire team.
Liminality.
We have like classic strikes in there. We have like missions from past expansions, like in Europa, like the Empire hunts. We also have like
Onslaught.
onslaughts are in here. We actually scroll down more. There it is, the coil. So past seasonal activities coming back, and like
That's
integrating
cool.
with all the systems we've been talking about that we're going to talk more about, so that they're like available.
But
for you
some
to
of those
loop
past
in,
seasonal
to work on your
activities were
power
awesome.
climb, to basically just like have a great time in whichever way you want to.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, since we're already in the screen, let's go ahead and get our fire team set up with our activity. What are we playing today, Nutty?
We were going to do the Dark Priestess Empire Hunt.
Awesome. So here, I'm actually going to pass the mic over to you and Alan. Let's get some bans, some modifiers, all that kind of stuff set up. Really quick, can you introduce each of these sections for the different modifiers, and then we'll go and kind of pick and choose what we want?
For sure. So we're starting at a master activity, and this is 300 combatant power. The first row there that has all the selectable icons that you can change are challenge modifiers. These are things that will increase the combatant power and add some additional difficulty to it. The first one is our Banes. So here you decide what Banes are going to show up, and we paired all of them as like 2 combos that either work well together
I mean,
or at least
listen, I
interesting.
respect it, man.
Today we'll
This
do
is-
Threaded and Caltrops.
Shoot,
So
especially if they
Threaded
see the
is
view count.
where as you damage
Holy
the combatant, it will
I would-
spawn
I don't
threadlings,
know.
and
I'd
when
be
it
like
dies,
him.
it will throw out a few more threadlings at the same time. And Caltrops is a void area that gets spawned near you, like between you and the combatant, and then when it dies, it throws out another one. So something to make it so you either need to get up in the air or keep
Tier
going.
2.
So starting with retaliation. Yeah, if I die, you're coming with me, pretty much. All right, next up, what do we got?
Yeah, let's do subtle foes. So this just makes it so that when some of the enemies are far away from you, they will be invisible, and that helps them get into close range. Or if you are using a long-range loadout, you won't be able to deal with them as much. So you might want to bring some close range.
And they're like very invisible. Not like,
yeah, not like a little bit of player stealth, but just like you don't see them.
Yeah, you really have to like pay attention to see them from long range.
What else do you want to do?
Okay.
Yeah, let's do Glass Cannon. So Glass Cannon is kind of a fire team equalizing one where it only punishes the person who's doing the best.
God,
so if you have that buddy that clears the strike ahead of you or is getting all of the kills, well, we're actually going to give him a debuff where he will just take more incoming damage.
What?
And if you are a little bit closer with your friends, then that's actually a catch-up opportunity where maybe you take over the kill lead and now you're the one suffering a little bit.
What is this guy
So if I'm playing through this activity and I'm stealing all of your kills, I'm putting a bit of a debuff on myself.
Right.
Taking one for the team.
Yeah, true.
And maybe I'm letting you finish a few of those.
Yeah. All right.
What else? Let's do one more. Chill touch. Yeah. So we were talking about getting the enemies into melee. So this will make it if they hit you in melee, you will suffer a stasis debuff and slow down.
Awesome.
Okay.
And that pushes the power all the way up to 360.
Tier 3.
And those things are also increasing the potential score that you can receive from this.
What
So
do you
the score is
do
what
for
drives
tier
the reward.
5?
So you see right here,
mother
when
trucker.
we picked when we picked Chill Touch, the gear tier you're going to earn went from tier 2 to tier 3 for this activity. So it's really important to pay attention to what you're earning.
Oh my
Yeah,
God,
so you know what you're going to be getting if you choose that
disgusting.
score in the end.
Yeah, and this is like, we've talked about this last week on stream about approachability and making it easier for players to understand as they're getting in. So a lot of UI treatment, shout out to our teams that have been doing this to show you combatant power and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, tons of love and passion went into that.
seriously.
Okay, so let's look at player stakes. Oh, do you want to take this?
Oh yeah. So player stakes are the next category down, and they're more about the player's interface with the game itself. So things like locked loadout. We have no HUD is an ability that we added here, so you can play with no HUD for a little extra score bonus. And these are things that are really sort of letting you sort of tie one arm behind your back while you're playing. It's not making the combatants more powerful. It's changing how you're playing the game. You can start with no ammo. You can start with locked loadout. We'll be putting some more player stakes in Ash and Iron.
I mean, cool.
Yeah.
I love no HUD. You're going to talk about it first, aren't you?
Well, no. You can have the
Okay, no HUD. You go first.
I just wanted to have us move on to the next bit because we've talked about tying one hand behind your back.
Talk about no HUD later. Go ahead.
Okay, but in the next bit, this is what you get to do with your other hand. So here are the things that benefit you. Let's try Livewire. This one is one of my favorite. It's a combination of the sprint for amplified that you had in the Nether, along with inherent AC/DC feedback fence. So we buffed up the enemy's melee capability that hopefully they'll get up and punch you. Well, now if they do, we're just going to shock them with lightning. So I'm kind of balancing out that additional challenge that we added and a different benefit that will kind of counter that and make it so it's actually a little bit easier for me.
Yeah.
What else can we do? Healing finishers are great. Just another way to get back health, or if you go in for that finisher and take damage on the way, that you'll be able to fill back up. And let's do one more.
Cool.
And sure, hypercritical is pretty fun. This one is actually a little bit tough because it makes it so that the enemies will take less non-precision damage, but more precision damage. So as long as you're hitting your shots, it's easier.
Awesome. And then Ben, we actually we noticed this
That's
a bit
good
earlier.
for,
There's one more modifier up at the top, and that's actually limited time, right?
Yeah. So this is a accelerator that this is a double bonus focus. So you're going to second drop from the bonus focus activities. So this is we will have given the calendar different accelerators that are on for a given week or day that will apply to the whole portal and have different benefits.
Okay.
And we're also going to have more of those events.
This isn't the
and,
most
other
exciting
things going on
stuff,
in the
but
game.
it's good
to give kind of another
through it
fresh
and
twist
talking
or
about
incentive
it.
to
It's
see what's going
useful
on in the game
information,
and get some
guys.
a good time. Realize that was a good time
Let's
to play.
be
So we're trying to
for
make
real for a second.
every day a good time to play Destiny.
Yeah, I think one of the modifiers we saw during our rehearsal was a bonus to Suros weapons too.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of there can be loot bonuses, there can be gameplay bonuses of more power behind certain weapon archetypes. It's pretty fun. So stay tuned to our calendars. We'll definitely sound off when it's a week of a cool theme. Let's get it launched in and actually start taking on some of this combat.
Hell yeah.
No HUD now.
Oh yeah, please.
Okay, so they aren't going to show no HUD because it'd be confusing, I think, on the stream. But no HUD is a great example of something you can engage with if you want to, because it's a challenge. It gives your score more opportunity to get better loot, but it takes away information going to the HUD. But what it also does is it makes it feel very cinematic and interesting, and like you kind of like feel more in tune with the character and the gunplay. And that's like a good analogy for what we're intending all the modifiers you're selecting to do. That it's like going to let you set up a situation like that he was talking about, like, oh, enemies have chill touch, but I'm going to like have live wire to counter it and create these cool little gameplay moments that are really like something that you choose for how you want to play for like really awesome loot.
Yeah, and Alan, when we were talking through some of these modifiers, like we've taken an inspiration from a ton of different places.
Yep.
Like No HUD in particular, shout out to Sammy Cat.
Yep.
Called her out last week for all the bows we were showing off, but also no HUD.
And we're hoping to get a bows only loadout modifier coming in the future too. We really do want to look at how people are playing the game, whether they're creators playing on stream or people playing at home, and really try to let them set up the challenge for themselves, how they want to do, right? Whether it be challenge modifiers, stakes, or the boons.
Yeah. How often are we going to be adding more modifiers to the portal?
Well, we're going to have some new modifiers coming with events. And we're going to be adding new modifiers with the mid-season update with Ash and Iron.
Yeah, that major update, yeah.
Yeah, I've been working on them pretty constantly along with the rest of the team. So it was like every few days that another either Bane would come online or modifier, and we'd have to go playtest that, which was a pretty big playtesting lift to try all these combinations and make sure that there aren't any rough edges when you combine some things that maybe we hadn't thought about when we were initially designing.
I appreciate
I'm sure there's stuff that players will find that we won't. We're accepting that.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we have our challenge for Esoteric or Mork or a couple of the other high skill creators of what can you throw on to make this difficult, and can you actually complete it? Right. So it'll be fun watching those playthroughs. Ben, paired with that, how often are we going to have more activities being added to the portal? Yeah,
so we want to like regularly refresh the portal on like so that, you know, there's stuff coming online like on like somewhat weekly cadence. Like we're going to have kind of a weekly like new stuff coming online for the first few weeks, and then when events come in, they're going to have big changes like lots of new modifiers or like portal-wide like effects. Some are going to come with activities as well, but we're also going to be every major update. We're going to have new activities that come in. We're also going to have like shakeups of existing ops formats, and we're going to have a really cool new activity that's the event that Ash and I launch. I'm not going to talk about right now, but I think is really fun. That's going to be an exemplar of like, hey, we're shaking things up. Here's a brand new thing. In addition to all of, like the classics and Destiny like Vault that we're bringing out.
Not just new activity, a new activity type that you've never played before.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so this is all talking about like what you're going to be playing in the portal, and we're going to be moving on to power and progression. So what you're earning.
Oh, there's the Invis
people love
thing.
Nutty, thank you so much for joining us. I'd love to give you just anything
else
you want to say before you leave.
I definitely want to shout out the rest of the Sandbox team, not just those of us that were working on additional modifiers and bans, but like that playtesting lift, we had everybody across.
Did he not get that special ammo? Oh my god, I'm
trying to hit as much of this as possible. And I wanted to re-emphasize how impactful some of the modifiers can be. Specifically, I'm thinking back to what we were just playing in live with attrition modifier in Prophecy Week 1, because when we moved to Prophecy Week 2, my fire team had gotten so accustomed to killing enemies and having a little health pickup on the ground that we had to play that final fight completely differently and use cover way more because we couldn't just kill some enemies and run through them and fill back up. Normally, I would think of attrition as a lot more of a challenging modifier, but it turned out that when we were toggling things off and on, it turned out to be more beneficial to us than we were anticipating.
I am still on the side of like attrition is challenging to me, and when it goes away, I'm like, oh, hey, fire team, let's go for it.
And if that makes it too hard for you to get your rewards, then just you toggle it off here.
Yeah.
It's more about like what you're comfortable playing with, and also what your style is for, and your build, and what your mood is.
I'm sure there's going to be
player agency to that.
An efficient loadout
with
these modifiers,
like,
where
what ones are you engaging with, what ones are you enjoying more,
you get the most bang
like
for your
they
buck,
are actually rewarding to do, and what ones feel like we could punch them up a little bit, because that's what we'll probably keep working on.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. Chat, everybody scream, thank you, Nutty. We're going to swap you off and get our power and progression individual in.
Let's see.
So,
are they saying it?
Thank you so much. While we're doing this transition,
there we go.
Ben, I would love to ask you, what activities could players find in Pinnacle Ops?
Oh, yeah. So Pinnacle Ops has, at Edge of Fate launch, it is going to be filled with exotic missions. and some exotic missions from the past year and previously as well.
Thank you for
that are
getting
going
the
to be
special.
integrated
Holy
into
cow.
the whole Portal experience and all the systems we're talking about, all the difficulties, all the modifiers, and intended to be, like not only something that is, well, exotic missions, they're kind of hard, right? They have mechanics, they're long, and so we're matching that by being like, okay, well, you can get the exotic if you don't have it, first of all, just from playing on the Portal. It's available all the time. It's not like going through rotation like every week or something. And you can do Fireteam Finder, of course, to find people to play with. But we're really excited that it's like, oh, I can like play this as hard as I want or as easy as I want, whatever whatever I'm feeling like right now. And we're gonna have more Pinnacle Ops in the future with Ash and Iron that we're not gonna talk about today. So it's actually a good example of like, hey, we're playing this new section of the game that we're gonna just keep on building in and tinkering with over time.
Awesome.
Okay.
I sense a segue. We were talking about Pinnacle Ops
into the
and
next
Pinnacle
category.
Power. Hello, Josh. Welcome to the couch.
Hello. Hi, I'm Josh Galinsky. I'm a staff systems designer here at Bungie. Been here for about 5 years. And I really work with a lot of our loot, our gear, your power and progression, as you mentioned, like, what are your rewards? What's the candy you get at the end of your activities and stuff like that? So we spent a lot of time reworking a lot of our stuff in the Edge of Fate, and really 900 is what the internal thing is. But we made big changes to how you engage with power in Destiny.
Okay.
One thing you'll all notice is, I think many of our creators have already
this
noticed in the
FOV
past
is
that there
killing
has
me,
been
man.
a power squish. We've reset players down to
Titan.
10.
Of course, it's the
Like,
motherfucking
that
Titan
is
as well.
Not only to give everyone kind of a fair and equitable starting place, and to kind of like reset the engagement with power. Also, 2020 power is not exactly the most friendly starting
not
point.
easy to understand if you haven't been along for the ride.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, like, this is
Yeah, I
the
mess
beginning of
with
a
the
new
star
saga. It's the
reset.
beginning of a new thing here.
cool with
So
it.
we're starting off there. It gives like all Guardians on equal footing with each other, and allows us to kind of build up. You're going to have 200 points of power in the soft cap band.
Intrinsic cap. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And you're going to be able to go and do any activity you want across the game in order to get to that point. Once you get past that, then you enter the seasonal bonus power band, which is where you're going to have to start doing more of the Portal activities and the Kepler like world tiers and stuff in order to get the power and progression that you want to get at that point.
Cool. So just to restate it, we're going to start at 10 when we launch.
Yep.
Every Guardian joining is going to be at 10. First 190 levels, so up to 200, that's going to be effectively your base power level.
Yep.
And then as you're going into more powerful activities, higher tiers, that's when you start going up and up.
Right.
So it's
and
like,
you'll be able to get
okay,
up
so
to
we reset
450
to
power
200.
up until not Rise of Iron, but Ashen Iron. There's
Wrath
once
coming
you get
back.
to that point in the season,
It's
then
confirmed.
You're gonna go even past that.
Wrath is coming back.
So
You
when
heard
we're
it
talking
here
about
first.
seasonal power, is that replacing the artifact power that we have?
Exactly. Like, we did simplify power a little bit further by taking power off of the artifact, and that allowed us to take the power we had there and put it
Thank
back into
the Lord up
so,
above.
Really, it streamlines it. It makes it so you're only worrying about your gear power as far as your engagement with that. So it just takes one additional level of complexity out of the system.
Yeah, and speaking of just like that power climb, like our Pinnacle sources have been updated to actually fit and give more agency, correct?
Absolutely. So one of the things I think, if you're a longtime Destiny player, you're very used to the Pinnacle grind. And you're also used to the limitations that the Pinnacle grind puts on you, and like some of the intricacies that come with that. Like, there's been many seasons in the past where, I really needed that drop of the boots to come from the thing, and I do my Pinnacles, I didn't get my boots.
But now you know what activity
Not
focuses
only
well.
are you able to more target farm individual gear pieces now, but also,
the ground just
limit of
ate
the
their shot.
Pinnacles
Whoa,
is no
that's one of the
longer a
new
thing. We're
enemies.
going to have some challenges in the game that act as accelerators for you as a Guardian, so you can basically focus on
Mick.
those to get power, like more hits of powerful gear. But really, once you get past that, you can keep
Is that
going.
enhancement cores?
Yeah, like everything in the Portal is a source of Pinnacle
Oh.
drops.
Exactly.
As much as you want.
As many times as you complete it,
Get this back.
with it being up to how you perform and how challenging you make the activities to be how far you can go.
Right. You still have to
Have
achieve that
jar.
score as you go up in power for the higher difficulties, get that better loot.
Oh my
Right.
god.
And we'll still have curated experiences, correct?
Hello,
so if a player doesn't
Amaris,
necessarily want to
who's
spend a bunch of
chilling
time like
in
creating
ice.
that challenge, we have
Or, I
those
mean,
offers too.
stasis.
Yeah,
Hello.
and like we do have like matchmaking, which is like set modifiers for every activity that has not, aside from solo ops. So solo ops doesn't have matchmaking, but for fire team ops, like you can match with other players. The modifiers are set, and we also have playlists. Modifiers are set, but we have more than that too. We have conquests, and those are set.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
Just a fun note, we've seen a ton of feedback over the years about players want to play Strike solo, and now...
Oh, yeah. That's a great point. Yeah, so we kind of going along with the idea of being player-driven, if you don't want to play a strike, like a Grandmaster Nightfall-esque strike, or even like early difficulties with other players, you don't have to. You can just play it by yourself. You can take as long as you want within the confines of the modifiers you've chosen to complete the activity and get the loot you have. So that falls into the what is your mood? What is it you're feeling like playing right now? And of these options, what's appealing to you?
Awesome. Yeah, I think back to you, Josh, really quick. Just from a high level, we talked about how Infusion is changing in the last blog, which, by the way, you should go read it. Can you give a high level for folks that didn't catch the blog? What's changing?
Yeah, at the highest level, upgrade modules are no longer a part of that Infusion thing. They're still going to continue to exist in the game. They can still drop from legacy content, but you can dismantle those for, I think it's an enhancement core and 1500 Glimmer. And so,
and enhancement, I guess.
We're going to have a new unstable core currency that's going to exist, and you're going to use that in addition to enhancement cores in order to infuse your gear up for the season.
Okay, and a bit of Glimmer too, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
And really at its core,
DMG
it allows us to just
want
have more texture over things. And one thing I should call out is that seasonal power does reset at the end of this thing, and players will be reset back to 200 when Renegades comes out.
Got it.
So
cool. Yeah, I think just last note on the power climb. So during our reveal event, you spoke about Crucible and how you can actually power up in Crucible to kind of keep pace with your friends. Can you expand on that a bit?
Yeah. So there's a time in Destiny's past when you could just play Crucible a lot, and you can get your power, you get great gear, you could fold in with your friends to play a raid or the challenging content. And we've kind of lost that somewhat over the years.
Bringing it back.
It's harder to feel like Crucible is your identity and really feel like the game is rewarding you for that. So with EdFit launch and the core game,
look at that chest
the
design.
Crucible ops
that looks crazy.
You're going to be able to
that
start
new
from
engram looks
and
awesome.
just play Crucible, and you'll get powered drops. You'll go up and you'll eventually get higher tier, be able to get really great sets of gear that will then be as good as anything else that you can find in the game. And you can just play Crucible all the way to the power cap if you want to. We are going to ask you to perform as you go to get more consistent rewards, but it's totally possible.
Yeah, and Josh, you mentioned before too of trials and competitive Crucible are going to be ways to accelerate. Right?
Absolutely. If you're putting yourself in the pools with the higher skill players and challenging yourself, that's how you're going to get your faster rewards. And not to mention the Trials armor sets and stuff, they're really cool this time around.
Yeah, we have a unique armor set for Crucible, for Trials. We have weapons, a bunch of cool rewards coming up, and we'll have a preview of that. One of our characters actually has Trials gear if you didn't notice.
Or maybe it was fun.
Now we have a good moment to look at our seasonal hub.
Sure. But if they're all different from each other, not just
these sure. If you notice the seasonal hub up there at the top of the portal screen, if you click into that, you come to the hub, which you're going to have a bunch of daily challenges and weekly challenges, and those are going to give you XP. They're going to give you bright dust. They're going to give you extra drops on a portal activity, but it's going to give you progress towards the weekly reward track there. And the weekly reward track has lots of currencies and powerful drops on there.
Right,
but it also has, if you tab to the next one, it's going to have some Vanguard Armory and Arsenal tokens, which give you bonus drops from Zavala from the list of weapons or armor you can get from these activities that are going to be higher tier, and they're going to be a higher power than you can get from even getting the best grade in there. So you'll want to be doing these, and these refresh every week and get 2 pieces of armor and 2 weapons every single week.
Pretty
and this
cool.
track is free, correct?
Yeah,
this is all game.
It's all free. Everything in the portal is free.
Awesome.
So if you scroll down from here, you're going to run into the Conquest page. Now there's 2 on Expert, 2 on Master, and 2 on Grandmaster, and these are effectively your Grandmaster replacements in the portal. These are going to be fixed power, fixed modifiers, no fire team power, and you get really good rewards for completing it. You'll get 4 higher tier engrams for completing each one.
That are powerful. To give
Yeah,
you,
those are higher power, but you'll only be able to get it one time. But these are really about your journey through the season. As you level up, you can take on the first expert one, and then the next expert one, and then the master, and then master 2, and then finally the 2 grandmasters. And with Ash and Iron, we're going to be bringing more grandmaster and ultimate conquest, which will allow you to complete the conqueror title.
Actually,
seal.
really quick gameplay team, if you could go back to the modifiers that you were just talking over, this was a really good example of a quality of life feature that came about. We saw a ton of feedback around modifiers like, I'm squinting at these icons, I don't really know what they mean. And now we have them bucketed based on the portal options, so you can more easily identify these things and understand them.
Yeah, and shout out to the UI UX team for making a really much cleaner look for activity launch than having this
very good change
really
in
good.
the UI.
Cool.
Must
And
say,
then there was
more
one more
streamlined.
section on the seasonal hub, one more tab down low for the Conqueror Seal.
Yep. So the Conqueror Seal is down here. You're going to be completing the conquest during the season to earn and gild your Conqueror Seal. And since this is still the Conqueror Seal, it's going to maintain its old gilding. So this is going to be continual.
Awesome.
Yeah.
14 seasons of Conqueror.
Who is
Now
that?
we're going to keep on going, baby.
Oh my God.
Awesome. So I'm going to say we still have a couple topics to cover. Fire Team, let's go ahead, launch into an activity in Fire Team Ops. Throw on a couple modifiers that you want to go for. Mix and match. I'd love for players to see as you go through how the score is changing, how the rewards can scale, all that kind of stuff. Just have a fun time. For the folks on the couch, we already went through the seasonal hub, the rewards. We are also having a moment in time where Guardian ranks are resetting.
Yes.
Yeah, if I could get a quick overview, one of you, I believe.
Oh.
Yeah.
Alan.
Yeah, so we took a look. So Guardian ranks, when we launched them, the first few ranks were about learning the game, and then the upper ones were about your seasonal journey and dealing with all the different kinds of things a player might do in Destiny. So we've stripped a bunch of those away and rebuilt objectives to be focused completely on the portal. So it's going to be playing through the various activities, using modifiers, playing all the different conquests, gaining power, gaining all the different kinds of rewards. It's going to be really showing like where you're at in that seasonal journey but purely for the portal. It's not going to reflect any dungeons. You're not going to have to solo any dungeons. You're not going to have to get commendations. See what else don't you have to do?
No more expansion gates.
No more expansion gates. Any of those kinds of things.
Great.
So every player will be able to get up.
It's
to,
great for people who
Guardian
don't
rank
buy
11, with Ash and Iron.
Yeah, in our original goals when we were talking about Guardian ranks, it was kind of an on-ramp for players new or even old to know, what do I want to do in Destiny right now? Now we have a lot of stuff in the portal that dovetails into that. Solo dungeons, they still have unique rewards. They're no longer required for 11 in Guardian rank, but you can still get ghosts, sparrows, emblems, that
We're not taking anything away from the dungeons. We're taking away things from the Guardian ranks and adding different kinds of things back in. And since we're doing that, the first 5 ranks will still be sort of an on-ramp into the game. So we're going to drop everybody back down to Guardian rank 2 with Edge of Fate and let them go from there. There will be lots of cool things to do and earn and play through in the first few ranks. And then starting with Ash and Iron and every season from then on, we'll reset you back to 6, just like we've been doing.
Awesome. Yeah, it's just another portion of what Robbie was talking about with aspiration, where it's like, I have my awesome armor from all these higher tiers. I have a new Guardian rank above my head. I've gone through the raid. I have this cool tier 5 weapon, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a ton to hunt, a ton to chase, and a lot of things to do. And I think at this point, it's kind of the easiest to get into Destiny and just know what to play. So
yeah, I absolutely believe that. And the exciting part is that everyone's journey through Guardian ranks is going to be kind of different because, a Guardian rank that tells you to accomplish this kind of power or complete this activity on this difficulty, how you did it will probably be pretty unique to you compared to other players because you chose different modifiers. There's different sets available for the given day or week. And maybe you did it solo, like we're talking about. Like, you soloed the master difficulty, like one of the requirements in Guardian ranks. Maybe you soloed on one of the conquests. And that's your story, and that's how you got it. But
this is the end of the live stream, isn't it?
There are a bunch of options for players to choose.
No new strike.
That match what their own experiences, what they want to be.
They can't just say that because people will be disappointed.
Thank you all so much for joining us today. That actually brings us to the end of our Power and Progression. I believe, Josh, you actually had a couple more things you wanted to say before we left, though.
Yeah, really, there's 2 things I want to say. One is that, fire team power is definitely still a thing that's in this game. We really want to encourage you to play with your friends, and when you do play with your friends, if you're a higher power level than them, that's another thing that can act as a nice accelerator for them and really, increase the bonds of friendship. That's like a core part of the DNA of Destiny is being able to play.
Is this
with
guy
fellow
for real?
players.
Yeah. So as
You never seen Prismatic?
A tier 4 and I'm only tier 2. I join you. We do a tier 4 activity. I still get tier 2 gear, but it's accelerating me faster into tier 3.
You're going to hit your score
Oh,
a lot
that's a
easier,
modifier,
which
by
is
the
going to
way.
help you get those bonus rewards. And
Got it. Cool. And then your second note?
And finally, we made a lot of changes to the game in the Edge of Fate. We're definitely going to be listening to you Guardians. We're going to be listening to the data. We're going to be listening to a lot of stuff. This is just the beginning of a new saga. So we've got a lot to do in the future, and I'm really excited about what's on the way.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah, great.
So
Go
I have
Strike.
a few bookkeeping topics to hit before we go about the live game. So we've been talking about the Edge of Fate. Right now we have Rite of the Nine going on with our dungeons. And let's see here. Ooh, today, wow, 54 minutes ago, we had a new engram go live, the non-airy engram. We introduced this in a previous TWID, but basically it's a new engram. You can earn a bunch of Rite of the Nine currency, sorry. And then purchase this engram for unique cosmetics that have been introduced over the past few years in Destiny. So if there are things like the skimmer that is Iron Banner theme, kind of, like the wolf theme, that's actually in there, and you have a chance to get that. There are some Crimson Doubles
You mean
emotes
Gjallarhorn
and
theme?
finishers and other cosmetics, so definitely dive in and check that out. Additionally, we had mentioned Lootapalooza. So a couple weeks just before launch, we're going to start showering players with loot. Starting today, we have double Crucible loot, which also applies to Trials of Osiris. So if you're hunting for adepts, if you're hunting for any gear in Crucible,
Why do you say it?
now's a great time to go.
Adepts.
And we also have, for the weekend, a lot of players have been asking,
weekend?
what maps are going to be
Oh my
featured?
God, cute.
You
Wait,
got
is that
Dissonance,
Cubone?
You got, Cirrus Plaza, and then you have the last one, which is Eventide Labs. Yeah, we went through, we had a great conversation about what if we had some type maps on a rotation for these last couple weeks. And for the final week of the season, we're going to have Burnout,
That's
Endless
Cubone,
Veil,
right? Or
and
Boruek,
community favorite, Javelin
whichever
4.
one it is.
So Trials players rejoice. Players that may not have ever played Trials, get in, get your 4th Streak, get some adepts, try it out, and get some gear to loot up for the Edge of Fate. And the final note, we are going to have all dungeons in the Rite of the Nine experience next week. Higher reward rates, higher currency rates, helping you get more of those drops, go into higher difficulties for your adepts, and potentially even get the
say adepts one more time. I'm about to
thank you all so much for
blow up
joining us.
my
Thank you all on
computer.
the couch for joining us.
Oh, no.
Thank you crew. Thank you gameplay. Thank you
Dude,
everybody
so
behind
there's
the
no new
scenes.
strike?
And
Hello?
players, everybody out there watching, thank you. We have 14 days until the Edge of Fate. 14 days until a new
Or maybe
saga.
it's a secret. I hope it's a
It has been
secret.
wild
This stream
ride
wasn't
over the last
terrible. This
10
stream
plus
was
years
cool.
of
Even
Destiny, and now we're just we're putting our toe
it
in
was
for the
newer.
next however
Actually,
many years
was
we
it?
keep going. You know,
Some of it was.
yeah. So
Man,
thank you so
I don't know.
much.
All right.
Much
Hopefully
love.
the Twids.
We're going to be doing a raid over to our good friend Malachi.
better.
So if you want to stick around, talk about the stream, Malachi.
All right. Hey, YouTube. I will be live streaming me playing Edge of Fate day 1. So I'll probably be uploading that too. But appreciate y'all. I'll catch y'all. Oh, see, thanks for watching. Catch y'all in the next video. Check out my shorts. Peace.